You know that moment when you stop and realize you're always trying to prove your worth to someone. You do everything. You give in, you understand, you overlook, you forgive. And yet, deep down, you feel that the other person would never do the same for you. It's as if your effort is never enough, as if you need to explain yourself, justify yourself, or mold yourself all the time to deserve attention, affection, or respect. If this sounds familiar, this video is for you. Today, I want to show you why it's so important to stop begging for love and start truly valuing yourself without needing to become cold, bitter, or unapproachable. Because being a strong woman has nothing to do with closing your heart, but rather with learning to stand up for yourself. And here's the most important point. The problem was never being too good. The problem is not knowing how far to go, not knowing when to stop, and ending up losing yourself while trying to keep someone around. We learned early on that to love is to give of oneself, that to love is to yield, to understand, to let go, to put the other person first. And, in a way, that makes sense. The problem is that no one taught us that love without limits isn't love. It's self-abandonment. When you start to erase yourself, to swallow discomfort and justify actions that hurt you, that's no longer surrender. It's a loss of identity. Often, what we call love is actually fear of being alone. Fear of silence, fear of emptiness, fear of having to face our own company. And then you get used to accepting emotional crumbs, believing that if you continue to be patient, understanding, and available, the other person will finally realize how much you deserve. But that rarely happens, because whoever learns to accept you halfway never feels the urgency to offer you the whole thing. True love doesn't work like a negotiation where you need to prove yourself all the time. It doesn't demand performances or constant sacrifices to be validated. True love is natural, light, and reciprocal. It happens in the encounter, not in insistence. And everything that isn't reciprocal isn't destiny, isn't punishment, and much less failure. It's learning. Learning that teaches you where not to stay and what you no longer need to accept. Saying yes to everything ends up, without realizing it, saying no to yourself all the time. You start putting other people's needs before your own, swallowing your tiredness, ignoring discomfort, and moving on as if everything is fine. Little by little, you become everyone's emotional support, that person who always listens, comforts, solves problems, advises, except for yourself. You spend your time putting out fires that aren't even yours, carrying problems that don't belong to you, taking on emotional responsibilities that no one asked for, but that you accept for fear of disappointing others. And the most dangerous part of this cycle is that, over time, you begin to believe that love only comes if you are useful, if you are always available, if you are convenient for the other person, as if your worth were directly linked to how much you do and not to who you are. But love isn't a reward for good behavior. You don't need to strive to deserve what is already rightfully yours. Respect, care, and reciprocity. Being kind is beautiful, a rare and valuable quality. The problem isn't being good. The problem is being too nice, because that often becomes a silent invitation to be devalued. After so much pain, so much disappointment, and so many failed attempts to love the wrong way, many people develop armor. It's almost automatic. You start to believe that being strong means feeling nothing, that showing emotion is a sign of weakness, and that closing your heart is the only way to avoid getting hurt again. But this idea comes at too high a price, because hardening yourself too much also hurts. When you completely shut yourself off, it's not just the pain that stays outside. Life stays outside too. Joy, connection, affection, and lightness can't cross walls that are too high. And, deep down, that's not strength. It's self-protection taken to the extreme, which ends up becoming emotional isolation. Being strong isn't about building walls. It's about learning to put up doors. Doors that you open consciously and close without guilt. You choose who enters, who stays, who leaves, and who no longer needs access to your energy. your time, and your peace. This isn't coldness, it's clarity. Balance isn't about becoming inaccessible. It's about developing the emotional maturity to feel without losing yourself. A lack of boundaries almost never starts with others. It's born within ourselves, from a lack of identity. When you don't know exactly who you are, what you believe in, and what you value, any opinion dismantles you. Any criticism makes you doubt yourself. And any crumb of approval seems enough to keep you there. Without a strong internal foundation, you end up molding yourself too much to fit expectations that aren't even your own. Therefore, the first step is not to change the other person, but to look inward and honestly ask yourself, what are my values? What do I no longer accept in my life? What hurts me? What weakens me? And what strengthens me? When you create this clarity, you build a solid emotional foundation that doesn't depend on anyone's validation. And when you understand what you believe in, saying no ceases to be something burdensome or guilt-ridden. No becomes a conscious choice, a way to protect and respect yourself. A no said with confidence is worth much more than 1,000 yeses said out of fear of losing someone, of displeasing them, or of being alone. In the end, the respect you seek from others always begins in the mirror. Setting boundaries isn't about yelling, arguing, or even competing. Setting boundaries is about teaching. People learn how to treat you based on what you allow, and everything you keep silent about, you end up consenting to, even without realizing it. Silence often communicates more than words. When someone crosses your boundary, take a deep breath and speak calmly. It's not about attacking, it's about standing up for yourself. Something simple like, I didn't like what you said and I don't want it to happen again, is enough. No drama, no irony, no revenge. Clarity doesn't need aggression to be respected. Those who need to raise their voices to be heard, deep down, still don't fully believe in their own voice. Boundaries stated calmly have far more power than any emotional outburst. And over time, people learn that with you, things aren't done any old way, not because you instill fear, but because you convey respect, starting with yourself. Not everyone who praises you truly wants what's best for you, and not everyone who criticizes you is trying to hurt you. People act out of self-interest, sometimes consciously, sometimes not so much. Some interests are healthy, others are purely convenient, and understanding this doesn't make you cold, it makes you aware. Therefore, it's important to start asking yourself, what does this person gain from being with me? Do they gain support, attention, care, validation, emotional comfort? And most importantly, what do I gain from being in this relationship? Having ulterior motives isn't wrong. Every relationship involves exchange. The problem begins when only one side gains and the other is only exhausted. Healthy relationships function as an exchange of energy, not an extraction. You feel nourished, not drained. You learn to identify who adds to your life, who walks alongside you, and who only gets close to take what's best in you. And, if necessary, have the courage to walk away before you lose yourself trying to keep someone who never intended to stay. You don't need to convince anyone to love you. Love isn't constant effort. It isn't persuasion. And it's certainly not a renovation project where you try to change someone so that one day they finally value you. Love is an encounter. It's a mutual choice. It's presence without pressure. When someone doesn't choose you, it hurts. But it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. The mistake isn't in who you are, but in insisting on staying where there's no reciprocity. The worst form of loneliness isn't being alone. It's remaining with someone who ignores you emotionally, who makes you feel invisible even when they're present. Any love that makes you doubt who you are, that diminishes your self-esteem and traps you in insecurity, is not love. It's emotional imprisonment. And yes, letting go hurts. But the pain of letting go is the price of emotional freedom, and freedom is worth much more than crumbs of attention or empty promises. Clearly create an image of the person you want to be. Not to please anyone, not to fit external expectations, but to find inspiration in moments when life tries to pull you down. Ask yourself, who are you at your best? How does this woman speak? How does she react under pressure? Who does she associate with? And, most importantly, what does she no longer accept? Whenever life tries to push you into a small role, into a place of fear, neediness, or insecurity, remember your Super Trumps version. That version that has already learned from pain, that knows its limits, and that doesn't compromise its own dignity. It is this version that needs to make the important decisions, not fear, not the past, and certainly not the need to be validated. Living with purpose means acting like someone who already knows their own worth, even on days when self-confidence wavers. When you are guided by this more conscious version of yourself, your choices change, your relationships change, and gradually, the way the world treats you also changes. Stop begging for love. Stop trying to fit in where you were never invited. True love doesn't require effort. It requires presence. Respect begins when you decide not to accept less than you deserve. And when you understand your worth, the world adjusts to your size. If this video made you think, leave a like and share it with someone who hasn't yet learned to say, enough. Because being good isn't a problem. The problem is continuing to be good in the wrong place.